Hello. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a very basic fundamental aspect of technique, of bow technique. And this fundamental exercise is the root of so many bowings that we'll need to employ, not only in the Baroque, but into the classical repertoire. So it's important that we get it right. Now, I have to tell you, working on specific physical movements represents not only an opportunity for progress, but it also represents a danger. So I'm going to give a health warning. If we allow the physical movements to dominate our playing, then we lose the contact between our inner musicality, our inner voice, and the sound that we make. We become controlling robots. It's very easy to allow ourselves to go down that path of division between our inner voice and the physical movements. So from the very beginning, or almost the very beginning, I'm going to emphasize the importance of imbuing even the simplest movement with a sense of emotion, a sense of beauty, a sense of musicality. Now, sometimes I find myself saying to students, please don't play in such a controlled way. Don't control the bow so much. The bow doesn't always want to be controlled. It doesn't always need to be controlled. It needs to be free. It needs to breathe so that it can speak and dance and sing. But that's not what this particular video is about. It's about very fundamental control, a movement from which so much of our art is ultimately derived. And it's a very simple thing. It's, well, I call it a pizzicato with the bow. I'm going to place the bow on the string silently, and then I'm going to pluck it like that. And when I pluck, I must make sure that it's a clean plucking sound. So there's no hesitation, none of that grating sound that we will get if we hesitate before we pluck. Like that. And I'm going to start only with down bows, and I'm going to be sure that I'm bringing out the resonance of my instrument. Now, when I have the bow on the string like that, I must be sure that it's the fingers here of the hand here that is feeling the string, really feeling the resistance of the string. The gut string, very malleable. It's like a spring, and the hair of the bow is also a spring, and actually the stick too is a spring. So we have these various springs interacting, working together to produce the sound. So it's important that my fingers are malleable so that they too are cooperating in this mass spring event. And the rest of the body must always remain neutral. So if I'm doing something like that, of course that's wrong. So just that. Now, at this level of technique, we can equate rhythm and control. So we can say that they're synonymous. If it's absolutely in rhythm, then it's absolutely controlled. If it's not quite in rhythm, then we've not quite got the control of the stick yet. So I'm going to set my metronome at something like tick, 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 and one tick will be for the down movement and one for the up movement. So tick, 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 tick. And I'm doing that because it's very important that we understand that this sound is created through two separate movements, the silent down and the rapid resonant up. And I'm going to speed gradually my bow up using the metronome until I reach something like this, which is probably the maximum that we need for this particular bowing. Now I'm going to do the same on an up bow, starting from the beginning. So just up bows until I reach the maximum, maybe a bit faster than that. And then I'm going to do it down and up. So down, pluck, up, pluck, until I reach the maximum again. Now, I can start already doing combinations. And of course there are infinite numbers of combinations that we can do. We can do 2 downs and 1 up. Or we can do the opposite, 2 ups and 1 down. But the important thing is that they all start on the string. We can also do 2 downs and 2 ups. And we always start slowly, and we always speed up until we reach the maximum that we can do with that clarity. So there's always a bit of a consonant at the beginning of the sound. Not, but that kind of consonant. Very useful when playing in churches, for example, or in very resonant acoustics. And I can do something else. I can do 3 ups and 3 downs, or 4, or a combination of legato, and those rapid pizzicato bow strokes. Now I'm going to apply that to a simple left hand formula. And I'm going to do it in various ways. Let's start with simple down and up. And you might have observed that already I'm introducing the element of expression into it, because there was some dynamics in there following the natural line of the music. So I want to avoid that, which is sort of technically perfect, if you like, but musically something that you will never use. And we should always be wary of practicing anything that we cannot apply to the repertoire later on. And I can do 3 downs and 3 ups, but always with those nuances. Or there are, of course, so many possibilities. And once I've mastered the open strings and the application to a musical phrase of sorts, I can then apply these bowings to one of the Kreutzer studies. Kreutzer's very basic, and because it's very basic, we always have to come back to them, constantly brushing up the basics. So we never allow the basics to deteriorate, as it were, throughout our career. I'm going to take the fifth Kreutzer study in this case. I'm going to start off by very slowly plucking each note with the bow, making sure that the sound is always resonant. And of course, when I shorten the string with the fingers of the left hand, then the relationship between the bow and the string is going to be altered ever so slightly. So I need to always take time to really feel each sound in that way. I don't have to learn how much pressure or whatever to put on. I learn that by listening. So it's really a cooperation between the hearing and the physically feeling. and then I can eventually speed that. And at that point, I can start doing exactly the same bowings as I did before. And at this, from here on, I'm always trying to do something which is expressive. Something I could say, well, this is from a Leclerc sonata, or this is from a Haydn string quartet, or something like that. Or whatever. There's so many different formulae that we can use. So from this very fundamental, this very basic kernel of information, you can allow a whole forest of, of technical and musical formulae to emerge. And so it's very important to get the very basics right from the beginning, and very important to remember that the heart is as important as the head. Enjoy your practicing.